Sean just said confidence but not complacency for you guys. What's your role in making sure you guys have the right attitude as you move on from a win like this week?
Shoes, man. I think it's just I want to say business as usual, but I guess you could say business as usual. I think that we have a lot of really good guys in our locker room that make sure that we don't get complacent, that make sure that we go into every meeting, every practice session, the meetings after practice, the film slate that has to be done on everyone's own. I think that everyone understands the significance of where we are at this point in the season, and I don't think that there is a complacency. I think that there's a lot of guys that are hungry for more. I think there's a lot of guys in our locker room that, like I said, understand where we are at this point in the season and are trying to continue to have the success that we've been having. And I don't know. I just think that there isn't really a complacency. But I get where, Coach, you don't want that to become a thing, especially with a young locker room. You don't want that to be a thing where it's like, look at what we have done and become complacent, and then next thing you know, like you let one that shouldn't slip. And I think it's just having that sense of urgency in meetings and practice, and I do think that we have guys that understand that and are doing that.
Courtland, I know you guys have different scramble rules when a quarterback scrambles, but how much of it sometimes is just sort of reaction? Like when Bo kind of came your way and you spun around, like is it a mix of just like natural instinct and the rules you're trying to do? Can you kind of take me through that a little bit?
Yeah, 1,000%. I think it's like you said. I think it's a mixture of both. We practice it, and it's definitely emphasized in from training camp to even to now that the scramble drill is huge, especially with us having Bo back there, him being a very mobile quarterback and always looking to get the ball down the field. He does have the ability to run, but you can tell that he's always still, before his last resort is running. He's trying to get the ball down the field to us. So we understand there's certain spots we got to get to, understanding kind of where he's looking, and we understand that we have to find a way to get into those spots and those windows for him. And so I do think there's a combination of rules, but also just playing ball. We just want to get into spots to be able to go make plays for him, and that's kind of what we've been doing. Just finding those holes in the defense once the main play breaks down, and trying to keep the drives going.
Court, we've been asking about Bo since he got here. You've got so many quarterbacks. How much fun is it after Thomas that you liked him to see him have the success that he's having, especially with more, I guess, tangible production?
Man, I mean, I'm like the word that I would use, I feel like I would need to find me a good thesaurus to be able to describe how excited I am for him and happy I am for him. I mean, the dude, I tell you guys all the time, shows up to work like hungry for more. A student of the game, a guy that you could tell loves the game. He loves the game of ball, and listening to him talk ball is nothing. There's nothing boring about listening to him talk ball, because he just has so many ideas, has so much joy, I guess you can say, that comes from him when he's talking about ball and what he sees each week from the defenses, and to see him have the success that he's having, man, it brings me joy to be able to be a part of it, to be able to witness and just like I said, be a part of his journey. And I tell you guys all the time, man, it's only the beginning. He's gonna have a long career, God willing, man. He's gonna have a long, healthy, successful career. And this is just the tip of the iceberg for him. And I think this goes back to the first question of what complacency and not becoming complacent and comfortable, whatever it may be, or consistency. I think that's the spot that he's in, understanding that he's having success, but, continuing to keep going, continuing to, break through each ceiling that he comes upon. And I think that he's doing that week in and week out. He's hitting a ceiling and breaking through it and then going on to the next one. And, man, the record book is going to be, hit pretty hard by him, I think. The way that he's attacking the games and his preparation and the joy that he has in the game, I think that it's only going to continue to ascend from here. And, man, I'm just happy for him.
Last leader of the wide receiver room, how much pride do you take in also the development of guys like Devon and Troy and Marvin?
Man, those dudes have been working their butts off. You know, it's so funny. I always joke with Marv and tell him I feel like he seems like an old head. Like, I forget sometimes that he was just drafted last year because of the way that he, you know, carries himself. He carries himself with so much maturity for a guy that's only in his second year. It's good to be able to have, you know, guys like him and LJ and AT, and then, you know, the guys that are on P Squad, Sills and Bandy. You know, having some of those other older guys in our room helps with us having Vele and Troy and kind of bringing those guys along. And, you know, watching Vele develop and watching Troy develop, you know, I feel like from training camp to now, you know, those guys have developed so much and have matured. And that's something that, you know, I tell people all the time, that there's so much of a learning curve that you just have to get thrown into the fire to go experience. You know, you can sit here and watch film all day. You can have these practices during training camp and everything. And yes, those are things that sharpen your iron. However, getting thrown into the fire in the games is where you really get to sharpen your iron. And I think that those guys have taken on the challenge really well, and they continue to develop and continue to progress in, you know, the professionalism that comes with playing this sport and playing this position. And I mean, that's all you can ask for a guy that's, you know, vetted in the room. Seeing those young guys take control of their own destiny and be willing to learn and grow as much as they possibly can. And man, the ceiling is beyond high for those guys, man. They got so much potential, and it's been a lot of fun watching them, you know, grow into themselves. These past few weeks, I think that they've been having really good, you know, games of doing what they're asked to do, and they're going to continue to get better. And I'm just excited to once again be a part of their journey as well. You know, we got really good young guys in this locker room, offensively, defensively, and man, you can see them progressing. And I think that they're going to be the ones, that the foundation that allow us to be able to have the success that we want to have long term.